FM. And I am here with my girl, Miss Brandy Fairfax, and I'm here with Eddie Scott of On the Mat on Thursdays on WOVU. And you guys, guess what?
What's up? What's up?
It's something that we don't really have too often.
Let me hear it.
Especially, we haven't had it since 2004. So that is a Victory Monday.
All around the board, though.
After opening game.
Yeah, all around the board.
So, yeah, clean sweep. You know, we're going to get into, Tribe a little bit later. We'll get into Ohio State. But every not every Ohio team, but every Cleveland team and our state representative, the Ohio State University, did what they needed to do this weekend. And they all won.
The ones that matter.
So, I'm pretty excited about this, guys. I don't know how you guys are feeling, but, this ain't something that we had in a long time. When the Buckeyes win, the Cleveland Browns also win too. So that's not something that happens too often, especially Michigan weekend. And typically the Browns will play Pittsburgh. So usually Ohio State gets the W. But, I'm just very excited. This was deemed a lot of things. There was a lot of storylines going into this game, playing against Baker Mayfield. I believe the NFL, somehow they had an inside track that Baker was going to Carolina, and they set the schedule up this way because they could have did the schedule any other way.
Facts.
Take on the NFC South. They could have opened up against Tampa Bay or something like that.
I think they did that with a lot of players this year.
Yeah.
Like tonight, Russell Wilson, Denver.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. Yep. So, this is all about storylines and matchups and stuff like that. So, you guys, let's go ahead and get into the game. So, Brandy, let's start with you. Overall, what are your thoughts about this victory and what does it mean to this team to you?
So I think the victory was a tough one. They almost didn't get it, but I think that they need to rely on the run game like they did, like Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. He had 2 touchdowns. They both played great. I did want to see more production from Amari Cooper and David Njoku. He just got that big contract. But at the end of the day, I don't think this win means too much for the Browns. They do have some tougher games later on the season, so I think those are going to be the ones that we're going to have to look at to see how they're going to do in playoffs if they are able to get to playoffs this year.
Okay, so for me, I think first of all, Baker Mayfield showed me exactly what he was. He's not as good as the players we thought he was, and there are a lot of people thought he was. He played horrible in the first half. He played horrible all the way to the fourth quarter, honestly. And he got a couple good lucky passes where the guy was wide open. Well, as far as the Browns go, and so everybody know I love my Browns. I am tired of them giving me heart attacks. Like this is getting ridiculous. Like I don't want a heart attack first week of the season. Like, geez, I want to watch all 17 games and live at least once. Like, first of all, Jacoby Brissett, he just showed me that it's. Like, he is no good. I'm sorry. Like, he literally went 9 for his first. It was 9 for 21 at first. I mean, it was horrible the first half. He couldn't hit the red side of the barn. It was that bad. And then, as you said, when it came to Amari Cooper and Njoku, it's like he couldn't give him the ball. So, I run Chubbs, 101 yards. I think on 21 carries. And then you got Kareem Hunt, who had two touchdowns, one receiving, one rushing touchdown. And to me, it was like, yo, let them know. Run the ball. I don't care if they know we're running the ball. You got Nick Chubb who's averaging 6.3 yards a carry. Run the ball. Like, I don't care. Make them stop him. And until they stop him, we're going to keep running it. Because at this point, you can't trust Jacoby. Like, Jacoby is not that guy. Mm-hmm. Not even as a backup. I'm sorry. He looked horrible. Mm-hmm. Maybe just a week one. And I know he didn't have no preseason games. So maybe that's what it was. Maybe we're going to blame him on the preseason. So he got to do something week 2 because right now he looks horrible.
Yeah, so he went 18 for 34 with 138 passing yards. And they were able to win that game. Carolina only had 207 passing yards as well. So Baker went 16 for 27. So when you look at that, at the end of the day, they were able to get a win. with that amount of passing yards. Usually, quarterbacks are throwing for 200, 300 something yards, even 400. But literally, you got 138 yards passing in the game, and they still were able to win this game. That's very Brownsian to me.
Yeah, but you got Nick Chubb in the backfield,
right?
Who is
Exactly
dominating. So
yeah,
it's easy to so you got to think we had the ball. I think for 34 minutes.
Yeah,
that game. We had it for 34 minutes, if I'm mistaken. So that's
38 minutes and 26 seconds,
more than half the game. So we definitely played into our hands, which was to slow the game down and run the ball game. But at the same time, you got to look at it like, hey, if I had to depend on Jacoby, can I?
Yeah,
and then you can't. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
If they stack the box right now to slow down Chubbs and Hunt,
because that's what they about to do.
That's what they're about to do.
Every team.
Can I trust Jacoby to win the game?
Every team is going to do that from now on because they saw how we were able to gash the Panthers. So if I'm a defensive coordinator, I'm stopping the box and trying to thwart that running game because that's where our strength is. And when Jacoby did throw the ball, usually it was a very ugly pass. It was a very low pass. The receivers had to go down, to get the ball. And Anthony Schwartz, he actually passed a beautiful ball to him, and Anthony Schwartz also caught that. So that was one of the keys to the game. That might have been one of the game-saving plays.
Yeah, I think everybody got pumped on that one. That was like a shocker.
It was unbelievable that he caught the ball.
Because he dropped the easy one. Remember, he dropped the easy one on the slant route.
Yeah.
I think a couple drives before, he dropped a real easy slant, 5-yard slant he dropped.
Yeah.
So for him to catch that was kind of a difficult pass to catch, too. And he caught it, and it was mind-blowing. I think everybody that was around me was like, Schwartz, hold on. Like,
I know.
We got more catch the ball, we got a touchdown. Like, wow.
Yeah, and then they did the end around with him too. So I think that they were trying to do everything to make him comfortable and get him involved in the game plan. Yeah. And I think that's how you build up his confidence because, he's out there reading what everybody's saying about him. He knows that people think he sucks. So what's the way to get in there and boost his confidence is to get in there and give him some plays that work to his strength. And that's what you're supposed to do as a coach. You're supposed to do things to your player strength and get him out there and do some things that he can excel at. And one we know is his speed.
Facts. I agree. So I put it like this: if you're Schwartz and you hear all the things, what's the best thing to do? How do you shut them up? Start catching the ball, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the easy way to shut somebody up. Where I'm from, like, do what they say you can't do.
Yeah.
And you have not proven wrong yet. You have not proven no one wrong yet. So it's going to keep going on that way. I mean, until you show us that you can catch the ball and they get you as a slot receiver. Right now, you are a number 3 receiver, which I don't understand why. Like, you got to show us something. Like, right now, you haven't done that. And as Ms. Brandy just said, you got Njoku, who I can't put enough blame on him.
One target, right?
One target. One time he caught the one
7
pass.
yards.
Yeah, the only time he was targeted, he caught the ball. But it's like, yo, give him the ball. Like, it was a couple plays where they didn't even sit him out. He was literally playing blocker. Like, he was just like he was one of the best. He's one of the best athletes on your team, actually. So use him. Like, you paid him all that money, use him. Like, why aren't y'all using him?
But do you think that the coaches saw something with the defense that they were running in which they felt that having him as a blocker would be best?
I think they put him there because they didn't trust our right tackle because Conklin is hurt.
Yeah.
So I think because they didn't trust him, they was like, we're gonna keep a tight end there at all times.
Mm-hmm.
But we didn't utilize our tight ends at all this game. Like Harrison got 2 targets, one reception.
Yeah, one drop.
One reception. The Njoku, if you just say hell, he had 1 target through the whole game, which we caught. We got 7 yards off of it. So we didn't utilize our tight ends at all. Which I think Amari Cooper had he had 5 targets through the whole entire game. Like, they didn't target him either that much.
He only had 3 receptions for 17 yards.
Yeah, he didn't get targeted.
More production from them.
Yeah.
But he wasn't throwing to it. He wasn't throwing it to him.
Yeah.
Like, he literally targeted them 5 times. You got a number 1 receiver, use him. Like, it was someplace he was wide open and you just didn't even give it to him. You didn't even try. Then you overthrew him. Like, you had the touchdown, guaranteed touchdown. And you overthrew him by at least 5 yards.
Which play was that?
When he was running up the sideline.
Amari Cooper
was running up the sideline, and you overthrew him by like 5 yards. And then,
okay.
Then you reversed it on the other side. You did the same thing with Hunt. Hunt got beat by 5 yards. And you overthrow Hunt. It's like, come on, that's 2 touchdowns you left on the board because there was 2 different drives that this happened on that you left on the board because you couldn't hit your target. Then you had one where Amari Cooper ran a post route and he was wide open across the middle, and you threw it out. You just threw it out of bounds. I was like, come on, you gotta see these. I'm like, I know I'm from the sideline. I'm watching from the sideline, so it's a little different. But you're a quarterback. You have to see these reads. And I know he's your first read, so you got to go through your production to go back to your first read. Then you get rid of the ball. Mm-hmm. He wasn't doing that, and he had time. It wasn't like he didn't have time. So it was like,
yeah, he actually had a lot of time. Yeah. And actually, for Jack Conklin to be out, I think the offensive line did a good job of, giving him time to hold up. Sometimes he held onto the ball a little bit longer, but it didn't seem as though Carolina pressured as much, defensively. They gave him that time, but, I think he had time to go deep, but I don't necessarily think that you can trust Jacoby to go deep.
That's what I think it is. I think they're not trusting him. And I see why though. Like I wouldn't trust him either at this point because you haven't shown me anything to make me want to trust you. Like to put my team on your back. Like we may, if I look at it, and I know a lot of people said they're trying to play on at least 4 games before they decide to remove him or not. And if he played like he played this game, I don't see us winning 3 games. I don't see us winning 3 games if he plays like this, because you gotta be productive. Like I said, I don't think they're gonna stop Chubbs, but they're gonna definitely stack the box where they're gonna make you beat me passing. And do I trust him enough that he could beat anyone passing? Not right now, no.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that wasn't Carolina's defensive strategy as well to stuff the box, because you already know that, Jacoby Brissett has some limitations. So, I don't understand, why Matt Rule didn't, use that as his defensive strategy. Instead, you got Gash. So, maybe he'll learn for the next game. But let me ask you guys, what about the offensive, the balance? How did you guys like the balance of the attack?
I think they did what they did with what the defense was giving them. I know a lot of defense are going to be looking for their runs, so I know we're going to keep saying rely on that more, but sometimes by certain defenses, they're not going to be able to do that. But I think the one thing I liked of what I saw yesterday is they had, for one of the first times, Kareem and Nick Chubb on the field at the same time. Mm-hmm. So I think if they continue to do that, that will be able to confuse the defenses when they're trying to stop the run.
Mm-hmm. Now, I did like some of the plays where they had them on the field at the same time, but at the same time, I'm like, yo, you can't do that often because that's your bread and butter, especially like in the third and fourth quarter when the defense are tired. Now you can bring a fresh leg like Kareem Hunt in and or Nick Chubb in. Now they can really pound the ball. As far as the balance go, I mean, I liked it because they was taking what you was giving me. You were giving me the run, so I'm gonna take the run. You know what I'm saying? So it will be more run than pass. And so I like the balance only because I'm taking what you're giving me. I'm not trying to force anything. And when you try to force, but I don't like the play calling though. I'm not a big fan of some of the play calling. I think Stefanski tries to outsmart other people and he outsmarts himself majority of the time. So I'm not a big fan of his play calling. But as far as defensive wise, I think our defense stepped up the first 3 quarters big. And then that fourth quarter came and Christian McCaffrey just took over. Like,
hold that thought because we're going to take a break and then we're going to get back to that defense. So jumped ahead of me a little bit.
Sorry.
So no, you're fine. So we're going to go ahead and take a break really quickly. You're listening to Her in the Huddle on WOVU 95.9 FM. We'll be right back.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, because I can't hear nothing in my headphones. I don't know if the headphones are
put them on now.
Yeah, I can hear it now, but when y'all talking, I can't hear you guys.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like I can hear it now. Great. I'm like, am I on? And I couldn't hear nothing. Like at first I was hearing her, and then she went out, and I couldn't hear her no more. And I couldn't hear you at all, Rach.
You good?
So let's see who works on that. Back on.
Okay. Yeah, we were just about to talk defense a second, so. Because I'm like, we can talk Browns all day.
Oh my goodness.
But I'm like, I forgot, like, the Guardians are in a pennant race right now, so and then Ohio State, but, Ohio State played a trash team, so.
See, but my thing is, like I said, the ranking. I'm done even talking about college football rankings. Like that's stupid now. Like it's too much. It's just bias. So it don't even matter because if Alabama lose every game somehow, some way, they're still in the top 25
and still be in the playoffs.
Yeah, they'll be in the playoffs. Like it's ridiculous. Like that's not cool. Like then they lost to a Texas team who's not even that good. But they got Peyton Manning's little nephew on there.
Oh. But wasn't that Carr dude? Because Quinn Ewers started off.
Correct. He didn't even play though. So,
and yeah, he got hurt, right?
Yeah.
All right, welcome back to Her and Huddle, WOVU 95.9 FM. This is your girl, Rachel Hill, the First Lady of Sports, and I am in studio today with Brandy Fairfax and Eddie Scott of On the Mat, our Thursday show. And we were just talking about how today is a Victory Monday, and we're approaching today at a different angle because we didn't lose. And that's something that we are so used to doing. First opening win since 2004, 17 years. You had kids who have been born and graduated from high school and are off to college right now. And the Browns finally just got a win. So when we were going, before we took break, Eddie had brought up the defense. So I said, we're going to take a break right quick. And then we're going to come back and we're going to hit that defense. You guys, one of the things is people are talking about Myles Garrett saying he didn't have the best performance. And I think he did great. I think he had 2 sacks that were critical, that were, game, destroying for the Carolina Panthers. Mm-hmm. There wasn't anything that I saw that he didn't do wrong, so I'm kind of confused about that. Always, he pressures, hurries, and things like that. And Myles Garrett is often triple teamed. So I'm kind of confused where this is coming from. Brandy, what do you think? Why do you think people are giving Myles the blues?
I think sometimes, and I feel like they did it last season too, sometimes if he starts off slow, or maybe it's considered like a quiet game for him, or if like his pressuring or sacks are maybe separated, I feel like they consider it a quiet game for him. But a lot of times he is double covered or even triple covered. So I think they have to take that into consideration too.
I agree. Like, I think he just being humble because there is no way he's talking about this was a quiet game. He got 2 sacks on I think 3 hurries, 1 knockdown, and then on top of all that, I guess because he missed a couple of tackles, he did miss a couple of tackles on the run against Christian McCaffrey. But like, everybody was missing tackles. Who haven't missed a tackle against Christian McCaffrey? Like, so I think he was just being humble because there's no way he said this was a bad game.
And I don't know if that one play with the bad snap and Christian McCaffrey picked it up off the ground. I don't think there was anything anybody could do about that play because everybody was out of position and they were all going opposite ways. So I'm like,
on top of that, they're all dove for the ball. So I'm on the ground, he's standing up. So it's easy for me to make a move and go. And we talk about Christian McCaffrey. He's not a slouch. Like, he's one of the best in the league.
Mm-hmm.
So, for me, I can't agree. I know it's Myles Garrett, so he's gonna say what it's him. So if he's saying it's a bad game, I guess I gotta believe him. But yeah, I don't see that was a bad game, bro. I'm sorry. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's just him.
Yeah, I thought it was a great game for Myles. So,
Agreed.
it was a win. So I think that we'll take that above all else. So I'm not going to be overly critical of his performance. What did you guys think about that defensive line getting after Baker Mayfield? What do you guys think about the defensive line?
I think in the beginning of the game, and throughout the second and third quarter, they came out so aggressive, and I think they were having fun. They definitely wanted to attack Baker.
Mm-hmm.
I feel that they knew who he was. They played with him for some 4 years, so they knew who he was. They know his weaknesses, and they exploited them. They definitely exploited them. Davian Clowney and Myles Garrett both did an amazing job coming out, and I was surprised by our defensive tackles though. Like I wasn't expecting him to be so dominant, and they were. I mean, Carolina offensive line isn't that bad, so for them to dominate that offensive line like that, it was like wow. Like I was truly surprised, which made me like proud of our defensive line. I'm still like not too sold on Joe Woods and his defense.
Okay.
But he's on the week-to-week base with me right now. So
right.
His job is on the line for me, man. But with this game, because I feel like we were speaking about the fourth quarter, you pull back. And you can't pull back in the NFL because there's no such thing as a league that's safe. You know, as we've seen throughout the entire weekend, the entire game yesterday, there were teams that was up by 17 and there were comebacks because there's no such thing as a safe league. So with that being said, you can't dial back. You're supposed to ramp it up, not dial it back. And I think with Joe Woods, he dials it back because of I think it's maybe because of fear. I don't know what it is because your corners are playing outstanding football the entire game, and your defensive line is playing great football. You were saving your linebackers from looking like trash, and we don't have the best linebackers, but they weren't looking too bad. And then you pull back and you exploit your own team. And I'm like, yo, like you're doing the wrong thing. You dial it up, send them blitzes, send them hits, like. Do your job. Make them do their job, and you decided to play conservative.
I think they just got cocky and thought that this game was in the bag, or whatever, because Baker did play terrible, but then, he dialed it up and turned it on, and, he played as he had in Cleveland where, I would be remiss if I didn't say that Baker Mayfield was capable of flashes of brilliance at times. It was ugly a lot of the times, but at great times, when we went to the playoffs, that was a great season and he was doing all the things that he needed to do. So, that this was a game that, Carolina Panthers, they want to win the game, whatever. But, this is the Baker Bowl. Baker wants to win this game more than anything. And you saw that grit, that toughness, that determination that, I want to beat this team. And he ended up bringing his team back.
Yeah.
So I think that they kind of had a laissez-faire attitude, but also too, on that one pass play where everybody got burnt, you see that there was a defensive breakdown as well. And there was no communication and there was no safety help over the top. Like, I think that they crisscrossed and one person was supposed to pick them up and they didn't, and they just let them go.
Yeah. So on that play, Delpit was supposed to take him and release him over.
Okay.
But he released him too quick. So when he released him too fast and went to play the flats, that left him wide open because there was the safety was supposed to come help.
Okay.
But Delpit already released him to the safety when the safety wasn't in position already. So he pulled to wait, but he was jumping the gun thinking Baker was going to take off and run. So he jumped the gun a little too early and released him too early and left him wide open. But if he did his job the right way, it would have been I would have released you over to my safety. It would have been a great play, but I mean, he left him wide open. I mean,
and Baker hit him, and that's what Baker was supposed to do. I'm like, dang, why couldn't he have done that in Cleveland? But like I don't recall ever seeing plays like that.
It would have been great, yeah.
But that was busted coverage, from the defense. So these things happen, and it was only the first game, and a lot of our defensive starters didn't play during the preseason either. So this is one of their first games as well, playing together as a unit. So I think that they will get those kinks out. Eddie, you had mentioned you don't think that we're going to win more than 3 games with Jacoby Brissett playing the way he was playing.
Yeah.
And I think if that running game continues the way it is, I think you can. I think that they will keep you in games. They will help you in games. I think that it's going to get tiring though, on both Nick and Kareem. I think, but if they can wear down defense, especially, in the third and fourth quarters, I think that'll really help the Browns. I don't know. I have some hope, but, it wasn't like Carolina was a great team. They were 5-12 last year. They're trying to figure a lot of things out. Their coach is on the hot seat. So this might be one more game that adds to that hot seat. But I think, that they can beat the Jets, who are coming up next at home. I think that they can carry a lot of that momentum because they see that they can win. They were able, like, that game was huge, and to win that game on the road, which is something that's very rare, that was a big game for the Cleveland Browns, for this organization and franchise. And it wasn't just, it was part of playing against Baker, but also just doing something that they hadn't been able to do in a long time without Deshaun Watson, being able to get that win, because it was kind of touch and go. And while they're playing in this game, I didn't think they were going to win it after Carolina kicked that field goal. I'm like, there's no way that they can do a 2-minute drill and get the ball down the field. Brandy, what did you think? Did you think that there was any way that they were going to be able to pull this game out?
I was iffy, but I knew that, we have two great backs, so I was hoping that they were going to be able to do it. Plus, we've had all this talk about Cade York, so I was excited to see what he was going to do, and he drilled the 50-yard field goal. So
58 yarders. I said, give him to the 40. I kept saying, give him to the 40. We can win.
That's what he told them, too. He said, if you get me to the 40, I'll win the game for you. But, there was another time where I guess they wanted him to hit a 53-yarder, but they decided to punt. And they were like, they didn't want that to be like his first field goal that he had to kick in the NFL. Why not? You a professional. You in the NFL now. Get out there and do your job. Send him out there.
That's what he had to do was worse to me with 8
right, exactly.
In the game.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So the 53-yarder, they decided to go for it on fourth down and wind up turning the ball over on downs. And I didn't understand that. I'm like, you can go up by, I think at that time we went up by 13, which would have, in hindsight, by 2020, it would have put us up where even when the score, of course, it wouldn't have took over the game because we'd still been up. But you decided to go for it. You got stopped because Jacoby threw a bad pass to Donovan Peoples-Jones.
What else is it?
but then you put him under 58 yards, 8 seconds left. I mean, if that ain't breaking you in, I don't know what is. But you say you were scared for him to kick a 53-yarder because it had been his first kick in the NFL game.
There was no pressure on that one.
I was going to say it wasn't none because we were already winning, so it wasn't no pressure on that kick. So why did you? I mean, I guess it worked out at the end, but I would rather you kick that 53-yarder with no pressure than a 58-yarder with all the pressure on you. Because if he'd have missed that kick, oh my goodness, this has been an uproar.
That's a terrible first game.
Yeah, and that's your season. Stuff like this is a season breaker, and I know it's only the first game, but being able to get a win like this in the environment that you were in, that saved your season, because we know the Browns, that ship tilts very easily those first two games, and you can easily tell how they're going to do the season. But they went out there, they got that win on the road, which is something that was absolutely huge, and they saved their season because this is something that they don't do.
Okay. So now our next game is against a guy who knows us very well.
Yeah, who had a lot of wins
against us, and Joey Flacco and the Jets. So now, do I feel that we can beat the Jets? I think we should really beat the Jets. I mean, they didn't look too bad yesterday, but at the same time, I'm like, come on. Their defense was suspect. And I'm like, yo. But the thing about their defense is they're a big run stopper. They're big on stopping the run. So now you're probably going to have to trust Jacoby big time more than you would have against Carolina. Because Carolina didn't send that much pressure. But let's be real, the Jets is known for sending the pressure. That's their defense. That's their whole agenda. I'm gonna send the pressure. I'm gonna make sure I stack this box. Beat me in the air.
Right. Yeah, because you're gonna have the teams that's going to say Jacoby Brissett is going to have to beat us.
Yeah, and that's just the Jets as themselves. They don't care if they lose through the air. They'll give up 500 yards passing, but you're not going to beat me on the ground. And that's what I'm worried about with them this week coming.
Really? You worried about that?
Only because of Jacoby Brissett. If we didn't have Jacoby, I wouldn't be.
Yeah, that's very true.
I mean, let's be honest, I wouldn't be if I had Jacoby.
That's very true. I feel like that Kareem Hunt, Nick Chubb can outrun anything and anybody. So I'm like, that's why I'm like, you worried about that? You have the best, tandem in the NFL at running the ball. So I think, especially with a team that like the Jets that are just terrible and been terrible. Except for they beat us during COVID, but we didn't have any wide receivers that game. So that's a whole other story.
Correct.
This is a game that the Jets are supposed to lose and the Browns are supposed to win.
But let's be honest. Let's be honest here. The game the Browns are supposed to win.
Yeah.
We always seem to find a way to lose them. And the game we're supposed to lose, we will blow that team out. It have always been that way.
This is the new Browns, though. This is the new Browns. You got some home cooking. You're coming off of a win. You're opening win. You're coming home to open up your home set. Because are we first in the division right now? I forgot to check.
We're tied. We're tied. I think everybody tied besides Cincinnati. Cincinnati in that place. Everybody else number one.
Number one. So that's something that we're not used to. Normally we're last after opening weekend. So I think they can be very effective coming back home and beating it up against Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco is the backup now, for the New York Jets. Zach Wilson is out. So even though Joe knows us very well, I think that we'll be able to beat the Jets. And we're going to go ahead and take a quick break. You're listening to Her in the Huddle on WOVU at 95.9 FM. We'll be right back.
It's gonna be a good game,
huh?
It's gonna be a good game. I got the Browns winning by.
We better
10.
win.
I got to win by 10, but every time we post to win the game, they forget. It's like they forget we supposed to win the game.
Oh, okay. So when we come back, Kate York, we talked about Kate a little bit. Special teams. That fumble, man.
Who's gonna you put back there though?
Huh?
Who can you put back there on the punt returns?
I don't even know.
Because right now we don't have the guy we was gonna have back there get injured.
But you can't be fumbling the ball. We got so lucky.
That was mad luck.
We got so lucky.
Welcome back to Her in the Huddle with Rachel Hill, the First Lady of Sports.
All right. Welcome back to Her in the Huddle, WOVU and 95.9 FM. This is your girl, Rachel Hill, the First Lady of Sports. Remember, you can always keep it locked right here on your regular radio dial at 95.9 FM. You can always listen to us online at WOVU.org. You can download that WOVU app and listen to us on the go. And you can always call the station at 216-271-0959. And I'm here with Ms. Brandy Fairfax and Mr. Eddie Scott from On the Mat here on Thursdays. And we talk a little Browns football. You guys, one thing that I stressed, during the off season was how important special teams was going to be once we drafted Kate York. But one of the things that it hasn't been addressed that they tried to address that it didn't work out due to injury was our return game. And Demetric Felton, fortunately, the fumble didn't cost us anything because there was somebody there that was able to get it. I forgot who the player was that was able to get the fumble, but we can't have that, especially field position is going to be so important for us this year. And we actually had excellent field position for the most part for this game. But you guys, what are we going to do about this return game?
I don't know, man, because that was scary, man. I mean, we were looking bad on the special team side as far even with the out the fumble. You take away the fumble, he wasn't really moving the ball on the punt spike. So it was like you're fair catching. He was fair catching, and wasn't nobody even around him. And when the people was around him, he would try to take it off. Like you're like, come on, man, you gotta know how to read that. And I'm not knocking. I know here he's like, yo, I'm trying to make something big happen, but you're trying to make something big at the wrong times. Like, and then that play right there, we should have fair caught that ball. It was players around you off top.
Mm-hmm.
Fair catch the ball, and go live to fight another down. But instead, you tried to make something happen. You took your eyes off the ball, kind of looked downfield, and you fumbled. It was a good thing we did have somebody there because that could have been a game changer right then and there. It would give them great field position. It would put them inside the 20 off top. And 9 times out of 10, when you're inside the 20, it leads to points. So that could have been big for us. And it's hard to say who could you put back there because you can't trust Shorts because Shorts can't catch. And even though you would love that speed back there, but you can't put him back there. So you don't have anybody. So you got to stick with what you got, I guess. I mean, I like Ford. I'll put Ford back there. Try Ford out.
Man, how do you make it to NFL when you can't catch the ball?
Speed.
I mean, I get that. But at the end, how good? What use is the speed to me is if you can't do anything with it. You know, because I'm not going to be able to give you an end around and hand the ball off to you every play. I mean, that's great in theory, but I'm not going to be able to do that.
I don't know if y'all paid attention to the pass that he caught. That he was really.
I saw it. It was a great catch. It was a critical, crucial catch.
But this is the bad part about it because Jacoby's reception was actually thinking about taking the sack. Like he was literally like, do I want to throw it to this guy or do I want to take the sack? Like it was. You saw it like, man. He waited till the last second to like, and if you watch the play, Shorts was coming across open the whole time. And he was literally like, somebody had to touch my ankles before I threw him the ball. That is bad. Like, that is not a good thing.
So can you imagine Baker having to play with Anthony Short? And Baker didn't want to throw OBJ the ball. So can you imagine him not throwing Anthony Short the ball if this was, his number one, number two receiver?
That's bad.
So what type of offense you got to be if you don't want to throw somebody the ball?
That is horrible, man. Like I was rewatching the play because I record the play. I mean, I record the game, so I'll go back and watch them over. And I'm watching this play, like I slowed it down and everything. Like, man, he was open for a while, and he was not throwing him the ball. Like he was like, "Yo."
Was there any defenders with him at
all?
No,
like as I said. So when he made the cross, when he made the post route move, and he was running the post for about at least 3 seconds, he was wide open. Like nobody was around him. Jacoby Brissett literally started grabbing his ankles, and he was just powering it through and made the pass. And it was like, that's a shame. He was willing to take that sack before he wanted the pass because that means I don't trust you as a receiver. So if I can't trust you, why you keep him in the game? Like nobody trusted him. But I did to speak to your point that you made earlier though, Brandy, that you said I like the Kareem Hunt as a slot receiver. When they put him in the slot, I like that formation because he looked good as a slot receiver.
And he can catch the ball.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, he could catch way better than Shorts.
That's what he did when he was with Kansas City.
Yeah. So I actually like that formation. I'm like, wow, that looked good with Chubbs in the back, Kareem at the slot. And they tried to run that end around a few times, though. A couple times it got shut down. And then that one that he did break off was a nice one on that one, but Shorts did. But they tried to run that end around a few times. And I also like Kareem Hunt in the backfield as the lead blocker, though. I'm like, they really utilize him. So while y'all utilizing him this way, pay that man.
Yeah, I was about to say, if you want a new contract, you about to be on this field, you about to be an all-purpose player out here. He probably get on the defense and do something defensively like Chris Gamble.
Listen, facts. Hey, listen, let's talk about Chris Gamble.
Nobody can find him. They tried to reunite him last week for like the 20-year anniversary against Notre Dame of the national championship, and they can't find Chris Gamble.
Wow, I didn't know
so
that.
Nobody knows where he at. Supposedly, somebody was told to get in touch with his father, and see if his father could, reach out to him. But, Chris Gamble is unfortunately off the map.
Off the grid.
Yeah, he's off the grid.
I ain't mad at him.
So, yeah, but, you could probably have Kareem Hunt play defense too. And, he get in there and, get some tackles and stuff like that. He's just that all-purpose player for you. And you definitely, should pay him. And he wants to be here.
Yeah.
So that's a great thing. How many players, wanted to play for the Cleveland Browns? People came here just to get a paycheck, Dwayne Bowe and stuff like that. So you actually got somebody this is home for him too, but he is out there contributing on the field, and him and Nick Chubb, even though Nick Chubb really can't catch the ball. So that's something that he admitted, that's something that he knows he needs to work on it. He's been working on it, to be as effective as Kareem Hunt, as a pass catcher. But I think, it's coming along. Excuse me. But you got to pay Kareem Hunt, and Kareem Hunt, it will pay dividends for this team in the future as well.
It shows you already that it will pay big time if you pay that man. Like,
and how important he is going to be right now to the offensive scheme in the next 10 games.
Yeah, fact. So, I mean, maybe they're not trying to do a contract through the season right now, but I'm trying to lock him up right now. I'm like, yo, while he's playing agent, let's talk.
Don't let anyone else get him.
Yeah, that's my thing. Like there's no reason why you even waiting so somebody else can pick him up. Like, no, let's get this done right now. Let's lock him in for another at least 4 or 5 years and call it a day. Because, but let's be honest, he runs like a madman. Like every time he's swinging that arm, like trying to turn his body. Like this guy, he runs with ruthless aggression. Like he doesn't care about himself or nobody in front of him.
He's a football player.
He's a football player, and I like that. I mean, me coming from a tailback scheme, I love the fact that he is like the way he runs. He runs with all purpose. Like, yo, you're gonna hit me or I'm gonna hit you. One of the two. So it is the perfect 1-2 punch. And like I said before, with him, the way he runs and the way Chubb runs, that defense get wore out fast. You saw yesterday how the defense is sitting on the field like yo, like this is getting ridiculous. Like y'all gotta come out, help us some kind of shake. And then
they got gashed.
Yeah, they were depleted up until that 75-yard pass. Like we literally, if we would have stopped them, if they didn't get that payoff, that 75-yard touchdown, I really think the game would have been over. Like, because the defense was beat. Like they were beat. Like it was like, and we saw it on the last drive that we had that they were beat, because if they weren't beat, that drive wouldn't have happened. Like for real. Even though we got a couple of calls that was great calls, like the roughing the passer, which was
a makeup call, because I don't necessarily know if that roughing the passer against us for Carolina was
that was bogus
as well. So
that was a bogus call, and they know it. Like he made a perfect. His head was to the side. He didn't lead. He didn't land on him like with the shoulder. He just made a tackle. And then they just gave us a gimme call because they had to.
Yeah, Yeah, exactly. Do you think that by making a call like that they were trying to set the tone to, like, the referees knew what it was. They knew that they was going to be coming after Baker. So do y'all think that they kind of called that call to kind of set the tone, like, hey, we're not going to, put up with this today. It's not going to be that type of game.
Yes and no. Probably just because I think they knew how ready the Browns were for this game and how aggressive they came out. But I think at the same time, they do like to give makeup calls sometimes.
I know they get paid. If this game win Game of the Year, refs get paid too, right? Just saying.
Tim Donahue.
I'm just saying the refs get paid for Games of the Year, just like the players get paid for Games of the Year. Just saying.
Yeah.
It definitely can go down as the Game of the Year, because it was definitely a great game. And I don't want to switch subjects because we're gonna definitely keep talking about the Browns. But let me ask y'all: did y'all see that catch? Did y'all see that one-handed catch by the team that we're not gonna mention?
Oh yes.
Hey, I hate to talk about this catch, but this was one of the best catches I have ever seen.
No, I didn't see it.
Okay, so that team across from us that we really don't like.
Which one? Because I don't like any team.
Crapbird Squillers.
Oh, okay.
So he passed. So Trubisky made this horrible pass, and this guy had to be like 12 feet up in the air. Have you ever seen angels in the outfield? I swear somebody had to grab him and fly him up in the sky. He caught the ball one-handed like the OBJ catch, turned around 3 feet down, tap, out of bounds. Great catch. Put him in field goal range, and then he missed the field goal, so it was okay.
That sucks.
But it was hands down one of the best catches I've seen. Like it to me, it even topped the OBJ catch. So that was that good of a catch. But that's enough about them.
So before we go to break, really quickly, I just want to ask you guys: Baker Mayfield, is he a good quarterback, or did he have his best years in Cleveland? Can he rebound in Carolina as their quarterback and actually take them to the playoffs, or is he who he is and he's just a run-of-the-mill guy in the NFL?
So Carolina's in the same division as the Saints, Tampa Bay.
Right.
He ain't going to the playoffs. It's a wrap. He's not that good of a quarterback. Like, let's be honest. Like, he didn't. People here gave him praise because we went to the playoffs. Well, I feel that if you put any quarterback behind that team that we had that year, a game manager who could make a play here and there, big time play here and there, you could have went to the playoffs. Like that team was stacked. You know what I'm saying? Like, our defense was pretty dang on good that year. We were number 5 overall defense, number 2 on the run that year. So yeah, I don't think I think Baker Mayfield is who he is. Like, to be honest with you, I think without a chip on his shoulder, he just an average quarterback. And in most cases, yes, he is a starting quarterback because he's obviously starting in the NFL. But who couldn't start over Sam Darnold?
I think that mainly watching the game, it did feel like Baker was just back in Cleveland. Like, a lot of the offense looked the same to me. Like, he had some.
He looked
throws.
worse to me.
Right. So he had a lot of like good throws and then bad throws, like he would when he was here. So I don't know. I think they are in a tough division, like he said, with Tampa Bay and the Saints. So I don't think they will make playoffs. But I think that probably this year Baker has really something to prove if he wants to continue being a starter in the league.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. One of the things he was known for here in Cleveland was batted balls batted down at the line of scrimmage. So he had 4 of those. But to me, he looked worse than he had as a Cleveland Brown. And it was just, them being able to get to him, not being able to be elusive, the passes that kind of were to nobody. They were at feet and there was no receiver in the area. Mm-hmm. So he looked worse to me than he had when he played with the Cleveland Browns. But, the Panthers are not a good team as well. So I just, I hate to say it, and I don't feel sorry for millionaires, but I kind of feel sorry for him. He does not deserve my sympathy. But, I'm an empathetic person, and it's just like, man, I want you to be better, but you just suck. I wanted Baker to be a good quarterback. I was looking forward to, him supposedly coming back for 2020 before the Deshaun Watson stuff, him being healthy, coming back, seeing where he could lead this team, seeing could he finally, be the quarterback that John Dorsey drafted. And John Dorsey just made a mistake. It was an intentional mistake because this is who you picked, but it was very intentional, and he proved to be wrong. And that, Baker wasn't John Dorsey's demise here in Cleveland. It was Freddie Kitchens.
Yes.
But had John here long minus the Freddie Kitchens debacle, Baker could have been his.
But see, Baker chose Freddie Kitchens. Dorsey asked, "Who do you trust as your coach?" And he said Freddie Kitchens. Like,
Baker should be gone too.
Yeah, that's what I said. That was a stupid choice. Like, why would you say Freddie Kitchens, knowing good well he had no experience as a head coach? Like, he only ever been a quarterback coach. He's never been an offensive coordinator. So what would make you think that he would be a good head coach? That lets you know right there that you don't make good decisions. So therefore, you should have been gone out of Cleveland. So I'm not mad that he's not here. I was never a fan of Baker Mayfield. I respected him as a person. I definitely respected the fact that he planted the flag at Ohio State, even though I love Ohio State as a football player, I thought that was just one of the best. Because if it wasn't for Ohio, if it wasn't at Ohio State, everybody would have loved it.
Did you see Candyman Part 2 when he started saying Candyman? She was like,
yeah. But listen, I'll be honest. Like, I just thought, like, I liked the antics that he brought to the game. Like, I'm like, maybe because I'm not soft, so when he told the Texas Tech people to, when he grabbed himself, like, yeah, Shelby, I wasn't mad at all that stuff. I'm sorry. That stuff didn't bother me. But the fact that you can't really play that good on the field, that bothers me. And so that's where I'm at with Baker Mayfield. Like, you do a lot of talking, and the only time you play good is when there's a chip on your shoulder. And the only time you give me a good game, and it's like, that's ridiculous. Why do there always have to be a chip on your shoulder before you play good football?
Yeah.
That's horrible. Like, so somebody got to slap you in your face before every game just for you to play good football? Like, I mean, we got to go tell. Like, it's like the water boy. Like, when the water boy, like, he's like, hey,
make a man.
Picture this on him. Like, and that's the only time you play good. Like, come on, man. Like, that's horrible. I'm not a fan. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
He showed me exactly what I thought he was going to show me, and I hope Randy Knight is listening because I told him from the very beginning that we got him that he wasn't as good as they thought.
Randy was a Baker fan?
Oh, Randy's a Baker fan.
Oh,
Randy's an undercover Baker fan. He won't tell y'all, but Randy, KOD is an undercover Baker fan, y'all. He is.
And I was seeing a lot of posts today like, see, Baker ain't that bad. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm like, he's terrible.
You saw it on Randy page, didn't you?
No, I saw somebody else. I saw two other people talking about, yeah, when you see, Carolina just broke down defensively, but Baker ain't that bad. I'm like, whatever. All right, we got to take a break. We got to head to our final break. You're listening to Her in the Huddle on WOVU 95.9 FM. We'll be right back.
So you root for Mitch. I mean, that's your boy. You gotta be rooting for Mitch. He went to your school.
Yeah.
Oh, did y'all go to school at the same time?
Yeah.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. He was at Menor High at the same time I was, so I always got root for him.
So you got root for
How
him.
many years apart are y'all?
3. So we
Okay.
were only there like 1 year or 2.
So he was a senior when you was a freshman?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
I
okay.
think so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I remember him. Well, it was 2 of them because South Willoughby South with Kareem Hunt. Them both teams whoop Euclid bad. My brother played for Euclid, and I was so mad.
Yeah, I remember Mitch was everything. That's
Man.
all you heard about on the news. Mitch was Trubisky.
He was balling. He was
yeah.
balling back in high school.
Yeah. All right. Welcome back to Her in the Huddle, WOVU 95.9 FM. And we were just talking about the Cleveland Browns, but I think at the end of the day, most people just wish Baker well, and that chapter is over in Cleveland. And now, we are in the Jacoby Brissett era right now before it becomes the Deshaun Watson era. And so far, so good. 1-0. I will take that. But right now, you have a team that is in a division race, the Cleveland Guardians. They are leading the division by 2.5 games. They're actually playing right now. I get a score update, but you guys, they did something that was huge, and they had they beat the Minnesota Twins in Minnesota. They swept them, which was huge. Yeah. Because they were a game behind and all that other stuff. But right now they got to watch out for the White Sox, who are surging. Tony La Russa is not, because Tony La Russa ain't been the manager right now.
I must say.
So
that tells you something right there, man. But they White Sox is surprising. They came out of nowhere. I mean, even though it's still a bad division, let's be honest. I would say that every time we talk. But
okay, they up 4-0 on the Anaheim Angels right now.
Wow.
At the bottom of the second.
Okay. So wait a second. So okay, we gonna just hope that stay there. But for me, man, like they played great baseball. Like the hitting was there. I don't know if y'all saw the game, but the hitting was actually on, which like I said many times, it surprised me because we know like if you got the pitching, we don't have the hitting. You have the hitting, we don't have the pitching. It's never at the same time. So for it to have it at the same time for those games. They knew those games meant something to me, so it was surprising. And I was actually proud to be a Cleveland fan for that second.
Proud to be a Cleveland Guardian fan? What are you talking about?
For that second.
What are you talking about?
It didn't last long, but it was there for a whole 3 days.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry. I'm just not. I love Cleveland, but I can't get with the Guardians, man. I'm sorry, y'all. I don't root for nobody else, though. I'll tell you that. I don't root for nobody else.
Oh my God. You got to get with this team, Brandy. Are you behind this team?
I am.
Okay, thank you.
They looked great. I think a couple of things though, in the 7th, 8th inning, they kind of were letting them sneak back into the game. So I think those type of things they're gonna have to watch out for if they want to continue down this final stretch of games.
Yeah, that defensive intensity wasn't there because they let them, like you said, get back close in the end. In that game Friday night, there were some defensive miscues that allowed people to, get on base. And it's like kind of like, what are you doing out there? The Guardians / the Indians always, sometimes at certain points in years past, they would have more errors than runs. And you pretty much have to play mistake-free baseball, especially as you are heading towards the playoffs. This is a very young team, so there's going to be some growing pains that come along with it. And, you're going to have the defensive miscues, but, Tito has to coach through that. The players have to play through that, and it'll be okay. But, you can't have, misfires and stuff like that because it almost costs you a game. And like Brandy said, they allowed them to come back. They led 7-0, and then Minnesota scored 6 unanswered runs.
Uh-huh.
So, they took the foot off the gas offensively because you got to put up more runs, because one thing that the Minnesota Twins are known for, that's hitting home runs. Thanks. So you got to put more points on the board because, they hit a home run with people on base. There you go. So, I'm really proud of getting going to Minnesota, which is hostile territory, and be able to get a win, that was huge. So now they got the Angels coming up. They got a game with the White Sox, a makeup game, a day game. And then they have the Twins for 5 games straight. And then they have the White Sox out after that. So they have a gauntlet coming up. And this is your season, pretty much,
So for me, somebody who's not a fan, who seems to watch every dang young game. I don't know why I keep watching these games, man.
Watch every game, but not
right. You know what? I think you're just trying to convince yourself you're not a fan.
I know, man.
But if you ask me and Brandy, you're a fan, dude.
I keep watching these games, and it's making me mad. And that's why I quit watching them, because they be making me so mad. It's a Cleveland thing to give you a heart attack. Like, I don't care what team it is. It's like, I have to give you a heart attack just for y'all to know that we're still playing. Like, listen, we believe y'all. We understand. We trust y'all. Quit giving me a heart attack. Browns, Guardians, but this stretch that they coming up, like you said, you got the White Sox, you got the Twins for 5 straight, then you got the White Sox again. And if you lose those games, which I don't think we're going to sweep the Twins for 5.
If you can take 3 out of 5.
I'm about to say, I think we get 3. I think we get a good 3, maybe even 4.
Yeah.
And which will give us, I think, which will win our division for us. But if we lose those games, we lose our division.
Well, though, after the White Sox, you got the Rangers coming into town. They sorry.
Yeah.
Then you got the Rays coming in too.
But the Rays is they hot and cold team too, though. They like the Guardians. They're hot and cold too. Like, 1 minute they're really cold.
Oh, they second in their division.
Yeah. 1 minute they're really cold. 1 minute they're really hot. You know what I'm saying? It depends. So that will be. I wouldn't rule that a win for us. I think that'd be a tough game for us. Like I said, our stretch. I think we got how many games we got left?
I think it's like
20 games. I think, okay, maybe 25 games left. But I think our division is going to count. I think the division is going to count on these major games against the Twins and the White Sox, who actually is in our division. And I think those are the games that's what's going to come down to, us dominating them, because
you got 6 games with the Royals to end the season.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Which is
all at home.
I'm about to say,
they're all at home.
They are the Cleveland.
Yeah, they all at home. I'm looking at it right now. So that'll help you win the division too.
Yeah. Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I heard it was 5, but I don't know if there was one that was rescheduled. It's not telling me because of a rain out. I thought it was 5, but
6 games. Wow.
Yeah, the September 30th through October 5th.
Okay.
Because there's no September 31st.
Yeah.
So the last 6 games are against the Kansas City Royals. So, if you can't take advantage of that to win the division, I don't know what else to tell you.
Well, we got to make sure we're healthy.
Yeah, we don't play the Tigers anymore either. So,
yeah, which is good. But we got to make sure we're healthy, though, down this stretch, too. And Tito got to really manage. He got to really.
Well, Tito might be talking about retiring, because just earlier he was like, "This is getting harder and harder." And I'm surprised he came back, this year. I would have thought, after all the numerous health issues that, he would have stepped down. But, I guess, it's something about men. Y'all don't ever want to retire. I don't know what it is. Y'all don't want to stop working.
Well, because we don't want to miss it. We just don't want to miss that. So
I think it's coming soon. Who's going to retire?
Yeah.
We'll see.
Well, everybody, I hope y'all had a good time today. That's our time. It passed back so quick for today's Victory Monday. You've been listening to Her in the Huddle on WOVU 95.9 FM, and we are out of here.
Good show. Yeah, see, man. Guardians, man, they better